Hi class, I'm here to review more Illustrator tools with you. I like to start off with the gradient tool and show you different ways that you could use this. Now there's two spots where the gradient tool is. You can come over here and it will look like this. So let's just pull this out for right now. Again, pull in the highlighted word and it will open up. And then you'll want your swatches pulled out as well to make it easy access. We can tuck that in. Pull that up. There we go. Also, you can find your gradient tool over here. So let's activate this space. Again, for the gradient to be applied to some space, you need to remember to activate a space. So I click on here, it's activated. And if I click right on here, you can see that it's turned. Now I don't really want white to black. I want to try some other colors. So what you can do here is that you can grab any colors that you like from here or add some more in. And you can start your gradient. So let's do blue. And you always need at least two colors on here. So if I got rid of black, which I can just go and hit the trash can, or I can go and slide off, I'll have this. But I just can't get rid of one and then only keep one because then it's not really a gradient. You can see what color's in control by the slider up top turning black. And as I move it back and forth, you can also control it with this top. And you can see what's happening here, slight control over here. So let's do this. I'm going to get rid of the white. So I have this going on. I can move it any way I want to. Now this offers you a little bit of control, but if you wanted to play around with it more, you can come over here to your gradient tool and you'll have more control. And instead of just going from here, you can click and drag, and you can do it from here. You also have control this way as well. You can see that it's turning here as well as over here, controlling in two spots. You can move this bar, you can shorten it, you can move it like this, so you can control the angles over here. You can't do that just here. You must come over here to have more power to control the angles. Now this second one is just using the radial. So if I take this, let's just do a different color. Or we can add 3. And all I'm doing is coming up to here for type and switching it to radial. Again, I can come over here to my gradient, hotkey G, and I can switch it around here. I can also again click and drag and have the gradient going off, have it start a little bit, have it really bleeding off, and I can even switch the colors around here just like I've done before. Now let's say you want a more 3D effect with your gradient tool, like down here, or more of a ribbon or hills type of thing. And this is really easy to do, and I'll click on this so you can see it's just really working with dark versus light and having a constant contrast by repeating the colors. So if I come over here, I will do dark green and light green. I'm going to get rid of these two. And I'm going to click on linear again. And Option Command to repeat the colors. Just going back and forth, keeping it pretty tight. And there we go. That's how you can get an effect that will be more 3D. I'm going to pop this back over here. Now with this, I'd like to show you a little bit more about the select tool. What I've done here is created multiple squares with my rectangle tool, and I'd just like to show you how I can edit these into different forms with my direct selection tool. So there are several things you can do to go from here to this state, and then also to round out the edges. So let me show you an example down here. What I've done, I've ungrouped these so they're all separate things. So to get the elongated type of line, what I can do here is click on here, make sure I'm at the direct select, which is A, and if I double click, hold down shift and double click, you can see how these are highlighted more intensely than these other ones, okay? And all I have to do is click and drag and it will highlight that. And coming down here, A for direct selection, clicking on the outside anchor point, holding down Shift to highlight them both, clicking and dragging, I can come either way. Now let me show you what else this can do. Again, going with A, you can see these tiny little circles. And what's new to CC is rounded corners through this direct selection tool, and this is a beautiful new feature that's happening right now. And unlike the shape tool rounded rectangles, which will only go so far and will edit differently, this gives you much more control than that tool. So I can click on any of them. I can go as little bit as that, or I can go a lot. Again, this will make almost like a perfect circle as far as it can go on the corners. So you have a lot of option here and a lot of play about what you like. Again, I can come over here, click A, and you can see because this is a different shape, it affects the sides differently. It's not equal like this anymore, so you really have to play with those corners. So that's a really nice feature as well. Again, it works on both sides. So if I have something like this, where I've had two squares, I merge them together, I can go up again to my direct select or A, and I can click on one, and then work with those points. Again, click on one, work with those points. Or I can bring those and work with them. Now again, the only reason it edited those two is because I had those highlighted. Otherwise, if I would select the whole shape, go up to A, all those ones will now work together. So this is a really nice tool. So you can get some really clean lines without having to use the pencil by just knowing that trick. Now this one again is just to show you the rotate and reflect. Again, if you highlight one of these, you can come over to your reflect tool, double click, and you have the option of whatever you like. Make sure you hit preview and you can mess with that. Come down here, rotate, double click, and you can rotate that as well. Just some good tools to know for the future. Over here, just slightly getting into type for more paragraph. And you come over here, just like Photoshop, this is character. And sometimes it will have it, sometimes it won't. So if you see this, you're not seeing everything that's available to you for just this part. Again, you can come down here for see more, and you can go show options, and it will give you more things to work on. So selecting my type tool, again, I can come over here and I could work with the size of the type. I can work with the leading, which is, remember, the space between each individual line of type. So we can see how that expanded. You can work with the kerning, which is spaces between each individual letter. So let's say I want a space in between the M and the E, maybe a little bit wider. You don't select the letters like this. You actually go into the space that you want to. So I want this space right here, and just leave your type blinking back and forth like this. Then you can come over here and you can work with that. Again, this is for really fine tuning, but I want you to know where that's at. And then for this is tracking, which is the space between all the letters. So again, let's highlight. And you can see how that widened, and we can make it really tight. Obviously, this is really unreadable, and we would never want it that tight. This is so you can have all caps. So if you want to do this in the future, you would never have to use a caps lock again, because all you'd have to do is come to this, and it would work like that. These are small caps, so you can see how that changed. And then this is for superscript, subscript, which we're not really going to get into right now. But you can go to underline and you can go to strike through. So again, just simple little things that I'd like to show you with type. Here is the reflection tool. Here's the rotate tool. Now how this works is that you have the thing you'd like to rotate, which I'll say is the green dot, and the thing you want it to rotate around. Now it doesn't necessarily have to be a circle. It can be a square or different things like that, but it does honestly work best with a circle-like item in this program. Thing you have to remember, you must select both of them. They're both highlighted. You come over here to your rotate tool. 45 seems to be a good degree in which it works, so I'm going to put 45 in there. You never hit OK. You always hit copy. Then what you do, to make a copy, you hit Command D. But as you can see this, it's copying both the green and the blue. But I don't want that, so what I like to do is get rid of both of these. Highlight the one that's copied and push Command D. And you can see the circle was about that size that it rotated around. Now you don't have to do this with just circles or shapes or anything. You can actually do this with type as well. So same concept. Have my circle, have my S if you think of it like a little ball. Shrink that down a little bit. Highlight both of them. Make sure you're on rotate. 45, copy, again never OK, always copy when you're trying to duplicate and rotate. Getting rid of this, and keeping this S and hitting Command D. And last but not least, what this does is if you work with the scale tool, sort of right below your reflect and rotate, this will keep everything in scale. So that means your stroke, which tends to get thinner thick when you make the item bigger or smaller, when you have the scale tool on and then you come back to it, it will stay in the proportion of which it needs to stay in. So that's a really helpful thing to know. So now we reviewed the gradient, the direct selection, rotate and reflect, some more elements of the type tool, rotating tool, which will definitely come in handy, and scale tool. Please review these tools in your own time and have fun!